Video diary of the day. So I learned something today. And what I learned was that I do not have to be a martyr and I do not have to be at the service of others. And this is what I mean by that. I have a huge problem feeling needed. I have a huge, it's like too much pressure for me when I feel that I hold a place where I am needed or I am looked at for, I don't know, like for guidance, right? As a mom, it's a tough job. As a wife, it's a tough job. I am lucky to live in a with a family, right? The family that I'm helping build, that there's no patriarchy, there's no matriarchy. We're just together, but somehow or another, I am held in my place, and it's a special place because I play a role in my family that I honor. But at times it can be so overwhelming because I feel like I need to have the answers to everything. And it's okay, obviously, not to have the answers to everything. And it's knowledge that I know, but it's knowledge that it's hard for me to put into practice. And so, as I'm like discovering myself as an energy being, I know that there's a purpose in my life, and I know that part of that purpose is to discover who I am. And I also know that part of that is sharing whatever it is that I have to share, right? And putting myself into service. And that can be a little daunting. That can be very, very, very confusing because in my head I automatically thought that I had to have a place not above anybody else, but a place of where people would come to me for counsel and for guidance. And I didn't like that, but I felt that that was the only way for me to put myself into service. And that weight is lifting from my existence. And I'm not saying that it's completely lifted because it's like a revelation that I feel I just now, today, have been able to look at. I feel like there's still so much more that I need to like unfold and go through and adjust to my life. But I feel that that weight of having to be a Reiki master or having to be the end of life doula that I am, and having to be this like sociologist, I think sociology for me is one of the things that intrigues me so very much. But being in a place of having to teach somebody else or to give my wisdom or my knowledge to somebody else, or to feel like I'm in a place of authority, I don't like it. I don't like it. And for some reason, I felt like I needed to play that role. And for some reason, I felt like I was like, I don't know, it's gonna sound so goofy, but like that I was so this this person that was supposed to be like seen and uplifted and somehow or another like looked at as an example. And I don't have to be in that position to put myself in service for others. Like my life's purpose could just be myself, like understanding myself and loving myself and finding my peace and being okay with the role that I'm intended to play. And I also feel like I have a good gauge now on how to find that groove that I'm intended to be, that I am destined to be part of, right? Like I I could just take care of myself, of my peace. Like for me at this moment, the theme of my life is peace. Now I can't have peace without love, and I can't have peace without like knowledge or wisdom. And I'm not just talking about like books and consuming like all of this information, but the knowledge and the wisdom and the education that I have been able to pick up being able to digest it, and then somehow or another creating something that I'm able to present to the people around me. And it doesn't have to be this loud thing. It does, like, that's not for me. I know that I'm here and I'm having this conversation in front of a camera, and eventually I will post it up on my social media. And I know that that's the intention, but I also feel like I want to have these conversations because for a really long time, I felt like I was in the spotlight. I was in a spotlight that I just kind of like had in my head, right? Like that I had to produce something that was so fucking like incredibly amazing, and kind of like hitting a home run. Um, and that's not my life. And that brings me comfort. Not having to be, um, I don't know, like the super shiny light. So my husband, he plays music and he likes going in front of a stage, and he's really good at it, and when he's in it, he's so natural and he flows so well, and for some reason I felt like I had to be the equivalent of that. Not because he pressured me, but because I'm discovering who I am as a being of love and light, as a vibe, like in the knowledge that I am energy, in the knowledge that I am vibration, in the knowledge that I am more than what this illusion presents, right? And I always thought that I had to be some type of like teacher, and that's not me. And that's perfect. And that's exactly something that I needed to hear, or something that I needed to be aware of, something that I needed to embrace. And so taking care of myself. And what I mean by that is like understanding why I think the way I do, and why I feel the way I do, and what my reservations are, and what produces anxiety, and how to keep my peace and my love at a certain level where, it serves me. That's my goal. Like, that's my purpose in life. That is the experience that I am meant to have. You know, digging into numerology, I figure out what my life path is. And as I'm reading through my life path, I feel overwhelmed because I see a lot of those like weaknesses, or those rooms, that those aspects that have room for improvement about myself. I see those clearly. Like, I see how I can seem like I can disconnect so quickly, but it's really not that. Or how I could be antisocial, or it's not. It's none of those things. It's just who I am, and how I feel and how I navigate through life. But it's also showing me how structure and how organization is important in my life. Because listen, if I'm a person, because I am, who struggles with having relationships, and not like, I love the relationship I have with my partner, I have the relationship that I have with my son, but I feel that the relationship that I have with my family is good. It needs to be where it needs to be, like my relationship with my mom and my relationship with my siblings, and that I feel that I'm at my capacity, that I just can't let more people in. Not because I don't want to. Like, I would love to have relationships with friends, and I've brought people into my life, and I shared part of my life with people who are amazing. But it's a huge task for me. It's almost like an energy leak to have to sustain these friendships, these connections, and it's not fair. It's not fair for me to like initiate things or accept friendships if I know that at the end of the day there's going to come a point where I won't be able to sustain it, or I won't be able to have purpose in your life. Like, I feel that a lot of the friendships are demand more from me. And yes, I can have a great time, and yes, I can have great conversations, and we have good connections, but to also continue to nourish those relationships, like, I just don't have the headspace or the energy or the desire. That doesn't mean that I don't love the people that I meet, and it doesn't mean that I don't wish them well, and it doesn't mean that I don't give them the quality time when we are together. But it does mean that I am not a good person that is going to be texting back and forth or on social media, like commenting stuff or, wanting to do things on a daily or weekly. Like, that is just not who I am. Like, that is just not who I am. I cannot offer more than what I have to offer, and I need to be okay with that. But I also need to make sure that as I'm making connections with people, I'm only giving what I can, and I'm also being very clear and setting those boundaries that you have me at 100%, but you might not have my full attention, like, frequently. I don't know if that makes sense. And I know that there's still a lot that I need to learn, because I know that there's importance in the connections that we have with people, but it seems that in this moment in my life, I find more fulfillment in being with myself and understanding myself, and like going through life loving myself wisely and the people around me. And I do not really want to have relationships with people or friendships outside the nucleus. Like, I have my small little tribe, and I love them, and and I pour my love and my attention and my existence to them. And sometimes I even lack on that. Sometimes I lack because when I'm going through a phase of growth, there's a lot of like pain. It's typically in my life, I feel like when I'm going through a lesson, there's pain of some sort. And I'm able to start to recognize it. So I know that when there's a shift in energy, like, I should prepare myself, like, I should be aware that something is coming, and I should find the time to prepare. Meaning, maybe meditating a little more, maybe eating well obviously helps so very much. And take like preparing for battle, I guess. Um and that's who I am. Like, I know that there's these virtues and gifts that I possess and that I need to polish. Um and and my goal is to help raise vibration. My goal is to navigate through time and space with grace. And my goal really is to not have to come back having to learn this lesson that I'm aware of now. Like, I want this lesson with its challenges and it's really like heavy emotions and thoughts to mean something. Like, I don't just want it to be what it is, because I feel like nothing really is what it is. There's a purpose for everything. And so this is just who I am, and this is who I am at this moment, and this is who I am as I'm rediscovering myself and remembering. I know that there's a Sagnite somewhere out there in all of these different like parallels and all of these different dimensions that has gone and passed this already. And so I want to be able to like tune into her and ask her, like guide me. Like, I've already done it. Like, I've already like passed this level, and help me, like give me either a little Easter egg somewhere, or like be aware that this is where you're at, and this is all I have. Like this is it. This is it for me. Like being present and here in this moment, having this conversation. I mean, this is me. This is me, and it has to mean something. And so I will continue to meditate, and I will continue to find value in consuming the water that I need to consume, and consuming the food that is going to nourish my body and that's going to allow me to connect to my energetic self. I am going to move my body so that it stays healthy, because a healthy body means like a healthy energetic life or spiritual life as well. I need to remember that I am like the Trinity manifested here. So my mind, my body, and my energy, my soul, you know, communicate, and they should be on the same page. And I need to remember what that communication is like. I need to remember how to speak that language again. And that means that not only do I look within, but I also connect to nature, to Mother Earth, to the cosmos, to everything and everyone. And so then I'm back to the same place of realizing the importance that it is to be here in this reality, in this time, in this space, with other beings of love and light who have a different mission, who require different experiences, who have different perceptions, because not everybody needs to think the way I do. Not everybody needs to feel, and not everybody needs to act the way that I do. Every one of us, we have our own journey, and we have our own like mission. And if that's like your whole mission in life is to really understand you like to the core, and that's your mission, holy shit, do it. How exciting. And if your mission is not only to know who yourself, but also like be that beacon of light, be that like lighthouse, then do it. Do it, live it. And if you feel like your purpose in life is to be dense, to live in fear, or to be stressed out, or to struggle, or like, then do it. But there's no judgment. Why? Because we're learning, even if we're not learning sometimes. Like the mistakes that I have made in my life, that I made more than once, at their moment, at the time that they were happening, maybe they didn't mean what it was supposed to. But now, when I'm 40 something, and I'm able to reflect, and I'm able to see like my role in my life and what I'm supposed to be learning, I mean, to me, it's a gift. It's a gift because I refuse to be here again. Like, will I be here again? More than likely. There's a lot that I need to learn, but I don't want to be here in the same way. I don't want to be here like, I don't know. I want to be able to learn lessons, but not lose my peace, or at least not lose it for too long. Or I want to be able to be just unshakable. You know, like if something is difficult in my life, if something does, for me, not having freedom or feeling like I'm like boxed in is the worst thing ever. It's probably for everybody. I don't know. But I like my freedom. I like my freedom. I like the feeling of just being like, you know what, like a fucking bird. I feel like when the bird is flying and it's feeling the wind in its body and its feathers and the sun, and whatever the elements are doing at that moment, to just soar, like holy shit, I want that equivalent, right? I want to, I love that. And so honoring that and honoring everybody around me and valuing that portion of who I am and honoring the people that are around me. Like that's a lesson that I'm currently learning. And I'm also learning that I do not have to have like the spotlight. Yay! Like I don't. I've never really wanted it. I've always like been really shy. But also, I don't need it. Like I don't need it, you guys. I don't need the spotlight. I'm perfectly fine being a wallflower or being like the 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 supportive character. So like I am my own main character. I'm loving myself and I'm working on myself and I'm living the path that I feel matches who I am. And I do not mind setting up stage. I actually like it a lot. I do not mind creating a beautiful space so that magic can happen. I do not mind being the person that in the background is like rooting everybody. And I do not mind being the person that will say hello and goodbye as you're coming and going. I don't mind those like casual encounters of love, right? Those casual encounters where like I'm in the Uber or just random place and somebody comes to me and we start talking about like heart things. We start talking about life things and we share our perspective and we can leave the conversation uplifted and loved and continue to carry on. Like I don't mind being like a pit stop down the way, right? I feel like I'm comfortable with that role. I welcome that role, but I also welcome that fully enlightened life path number 5.